Welcome back to DAP Build. Today I'm continuing progress, obviously, of my 1999 Porsche Turbo Replica. I'm starting to remove the remaining chunks of metal that were adorning the tub, and of course, well, they need to be removed because it needs to be clean in order for the new pans to go onto. I've already started on this side, and of course, off camera, finishing off from last week, remove the bulk. There was so much filler in there, it was ridiculous. But anyway, that's now gone. On to the skin, and of course, as mentioned, already tackled a bit of this side, and it's worked reasonably well. I am doing this a little unconventionally from most. The way I've read to do it typically would be more or less to get a chisel hammer, whatever you want to do it. Just have it really sharp, and then of course just more or less go through it. I don't have that setup, I don't have that tool, I don't really want to invest in that tool, I don't think I'm going to need it for anything else really. So at the end of the day as well, I can't use it on the underside because it does deform the metal. It is for removing the shrapnel remains, and of course the belly, I do need it to be clean. So the way I'm doing it on top was more or less to test the theory for when I need to do it on the bottom. That's pretty much the main reason behind why I'm doing it this way. A little longer, a little unconventional, but it'll work. It's already done a great job along here, and it just needs a bit of cleanup afterwards just to remove the remaining little bits. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, but yeah, I mean, I'm really happy. So pressing on, I'm gonna leave this for now. I'll show you the rundown of what I've done along this side here. I can see pretty much all the spot welds. I think I'm still shy a few spot welds here to remain to getting this off. I've started to do it, and then of course it's just kind of hung in certain spots. It's still got a lot of grab there. So anyway, yeah, let's tackle that. So the way in which I'm doing this is more or less using a bit of cutting fluid, a drill with a tip obviously, and then a spot weld remover. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I using the drill? The problem is, even though it does have this springy point here, which is supposed to lock it in place so it doesn't move about, it still moves about. Doing the drill just gives it a little bit more surface area so it can reside in there. It just means that it doesn't jog about and of course make a mess. I've already tried to do a few just with this alone. It just really wasn't working for me. So I thought, you know, pilot hole first and then just kind of go through. I didn't go right through the metal. I've kind of stopped mid-point. You can kind of feel when it gets past that initial layer. There's essentially 3 layers here. I think in some situations on the other side I've gone through a little bit too far, but at the end of the day, when I do the top layer and everything like that, if there's any inconsistencies, I can always blemish, fix the blemishes there. So what we do first is more or less dot all of the, I might need to do a bit of a brush off first, I'll grab a rag. But yeah, just dotting all the actual spot welds with this, just so when we do the drill, it cuts in nice and easily, just assists in grabbing, and of course, use the spot weld removal tool, and happy days, works really nicely. So all the holes are drilled now, and onto this. So what this does is more or less, little prong here sits in the center of the drill hole I've done. These then encompass the spot welds, so more or less they're cutting around the entire area. It's not going to get all of it obviously because they're not all exactly the same, but it removes the bulk of the weld, which means then the remaining metal can come off a lot simpler. So just like a drill bit, center it up, slide it down, cuts a hole, nice and easy. Drilling done now, which is great because my hand is killing me. But as we can see here, this is what I did earlier. This entire section now is the underpinning section. So this all is just the remaining little bits that I need to grind down. Nice and simple there. Just gives me a nice clean surface to work on. Very crudely using a flathead screwdriver and of course a hammer. That's what I'm working with. But it's more or less now a fact of just getting in between the skin, just prying them away. So this is more or less the fun part because you've still got to finesse your way in there, but you get there eventually. Well, that came off in one nice big bit. So that's disgusting. That's well, that's pretty much all I need to do for that now. That's all removed, which is great. So now on to more or less cleaning up the remaining metals. So just the 1,000,001 little swirly holes that I've got to cover over and cut off. This is going to take a while. Oh well. It's not going to get done by itself. Oh, it's so silky and smooth. Anyway, done. It looks great. The metal itself now is nice and flat. Ow. I'm so distracted right now. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's exactly as I wanted. Unfortunately, in some situations, well, to be honest, in most situations, I can see where the actual drill holes are. Yeah, okay. It shouldn't be an issue. There's still plenty of meat there. There's still enough surface, and of course, yeah, it should be okay. It's just a little thin skin in some areas. Still a little bit of dirt and debris. The very corners I cannot flatten out because I can't get the grinder in there. I don't really have a tool yet to kind of sort those out. But everywhere else though, along here, along the back section, it's all nice and clean. So it's a flat surface ready for new pans, which is brilliant. Still got to sort the two top corner pieces out. They're still a bit proud because the existing metal that was welded on top there, I don't know why they did it that way, but anyway, it was done that way. Yeah, that just needs to be hollowed down. Yeah, it's the morning. But anyway, so that's sorted now. I think I'm done for the top side. So that's all sorted now. This side's all sorted. There is nothing else to do on this top section. That will need to be addressed. However, I can't really deal with that until I'm inside the tunnel. And the reason being, this concave, how it's kind of bowed inwards to the tunnel and the top section flanges out, I need to rejig that basically, so it's all the one shape. Just a bit of hammering there, but I'll get that sorted, and yeah, it's coming along nicely. I'm so happy. It's been a long time coming. I mean, it hasn't been that long, but it's a long time for me in getting to this point, and I'm kind of glad that I'm doing the work as opposed to handing this off to the shop, which I kind of originally intended. I can see why they charge, you know, a decent amount. It is labor intensive, and of course I haven't done this the most efficient way. I did this the way I was most comfortable with, and again, it's possibly and more likely not exactly the ideal way of doing it, but it's worked. I don't think there's any adverse effects from the way I've done it. We'll find out soon enough when I flip it over and have to do the other side, but I'm consciously optimistic. Is that the term? Probably not. Anyway, that does it for me. It's another day, it's the end of the week as always, and of course this is the wrap up. So as always, thank you very much for joining me. Like, subscribe, comment below, etc. Tell you, hang on a second. There we go. Yeah. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbour that if he's ever going to touch bare metal like that, make sure he splinter blood